Today, friends, we are going to make a fantastic car using the brand new Tinkercad sketch feature. So let's get cracking. Friends, welcome to Tinkercad. Of course, you can find it at tinkercad.com. We are going to click right over here and choose Create 3D Design. My first step is always to name it. I'm going to call this Car Sketch. I'm going to click down here to finish that, and then I do want to show you this saves to the cloud. So if you click back on the Tinkercad dashboard, your project is already saved. That's how slick Tinkercad is. Now, we generally build with basic shapes like cubes, and you can stack and group them to make awesome shapes. But today we're going to use the new sketch feature. Now, we're going to use this smartly by getting some wheels first. So when you go to the wheels, pick whichever one you like. I'm going to use this big fat racing car wheel. I am going to use a trick called shift scale. So I'm holding down the shift button and I'm going to shrink this a bit. And then I'm going to type the number 30 out here and press enter. So that way it fits better on my screen. I want 2 of these, so I'm going to use a command called duplicate. Control D is duplicate. You could also click it right here, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys to move it. Notice that moves it a little. I'm going to do shift and hit the arrow keys, and that moves it a lot. So now I've got my wheels at a distance that I think looks pretty fun. It is not a measured distance, it's just a fun distance. And now we can use the sweet sketch tool to build our car. I'm going to back up to basic shapes, and I'm going to bring out the sketch tool, and I'm going to set it right in the middle of those wheels. If we back out, what this did is it allows us to see where the wheels are as we design with either straight lines or Bezier curves. I'm going to start with a straight line, and I'm going to go in between the wheels, making sure that I leave room to go over each of the tires. I'm going to switch to the Bezier curve, and I'm going to click a little bit above, and I'm going to hold the mouse, and that way I can bend and rotate this wheel. If you make a mistake, don't worry, we can change that in a minute. I'm going to click and do that again here, and then I'm going to click and bend right here. Now I'm going to just trace a fun car shape. Now we could try and be perfect, but I'm going to just show you this really quick and how we can modify it when we're done. And I'm going to finish this car, even with these crazy lines right here, by just going over. I'm going to go out a little bit. I'm going to do one of those curves again by clicking and bending, bringing it back. I'm going to go up. This will be where everybody sits. I'm going to bend this a little bit by click, hold, and drag. Click, bring it out in front. I'm going to do a bend right here and come down. Once again, come back, making sure I'm on the Bezier. Now I can click and curve and finish. Now this is the rough sketch. Once you've got your shape completed that way, we can now use these tools down here to modify it. So right now, these are connected. This is called symmetrical. That's nice for making that round. You could also break the handles so that each one is separate. I'm going to do Control Z to put that back because I think I liked it that way. I'm going to take this, and when you make it longer, it makes that curve spread out a little further. We can nudge to get it to the exact way we want it. This car is just for fun. You don't have to be perfect. Just make sure you've got these so that they work the way you want. I do want to break this one because I'm going to make this side go straight. And then I'm going to make this one bend up. Once again, just making sure that that curve looks how I want. Straighten this one up. I like the way this bends around. I like this up here. This one, I want that to twist out that way. That looks pretty fun. I'm going to bring the front of the car back a little bit. If you wanted to add more lines, I'll just show you real quick. Click down here on the plus, and then you can click in the middle so you could have a different feature. Notice after you click, you do need to switch back or that'll click and delete. Let me show you that real quick. If I click back here, now if I click on that point, it deletes it. So if you're in the add mode, just make sure that you understand that you have to switch back to the modify mode so that you can change how it looks. You can grab entire lines instead of the points as you make the shape look exactly how you want. I want this to be a curve. So I'm going to switch down here to the curve mode. Make it a little skinnier and make it so that it comes down like that. I also want this to be a curve as well. But this is where you can have fun making it look however you want. Notice this moves the entire part. You can have a lot of fun adjusting your design just like that. Friends, when you're happy with your car design, you can hit Finish Sketch. Now you can click on this and you can raise it up and you've just made a car design that matches your wheels. I'm going to grab all of that and I'm going to do rotate and I want to go 90 degrees. Notice I'm going inside this blue circle, so that's 22.5 degrees per turn. You can also hold down Shift and it does 45 degrees per turn. I'm going to grab everything and hit D to drop so that way the wheels are at ground level. I'm going to grab the two wheels. Notice I'm down underneath the design. Once again, use the arrow keys or shift arrow to move them to this side. I'm going to do Control D and shift nudge to move them back to that side of the car. And then I want to use the sweet flip tool to mirror them. I'm going to take my car and get it to the width that would match the wheels by just dragging one of these black handles. Notice if you grab a white handle, it does 2 directions at a time, which is hard to work with. If you make a mistake, just do Control Z and back it up. I'm going to make this just a little wider, and I think that is pretty darn fun. All right, so let's say you really want this edge to be smooth. Check this out. If we double click, it takes us back in, and if we click on this one, we can actually just delete that point. I'm going to hit the delete, and now there's no bump there. I can still adjust this to be whatever I wanted it to look like, but that ends up being a smooth design. Once again, when you hit Finish Sketch, bang, there is the modification. How cool is that? Now, I would like this design to also be a little bit rounded from this angle. Let me show you how we're going to make that happen. To trim it from this side, I need something perpendicular to set it on, so I'm going to quickly set a cube right here. Now that we've got this cube, we can drop the sketch on it, and this lets us see the front view of our car. You notice we can see the wheels, and this is the roof and the windshield. Now I want to trim this so that it's got a bit of an angle. Not a ton of arc, but some arc. I'm going to simply go to the middle and I'm going to click up and I'm going to create this cutting block. Straight lines until I get to the middle, actually a little bit past this middle area. Now right here I'm going to switch to the Bezier curve and I'm going to create the cutting piece. Now I want to make sure I cut through the middle. I'm going to keep this piece kind of straight. And then right up here, I'm going to hold and bend and come across and connect the dots. Now that's not straight and it's not good, but now I can click on it and adjust that so it does go exactly where I want. I can nudge this in a little bit. We could twist and make it look exactly how we wanted. But that's going to be the cutting piece for my car. This will be a good spot for the windows. It'll bend out a little bit so it'll look kind of nifty. And when you're happy, you can hit Finish Sketch. Now this piece right here needs to be stretched back. Notice I'm going to use the black handle. If you use the white handle, it goes in 2 directions at a time, which can mess you up. I'm going to simply use Control Z to undo, and I'm going to make it a hole. Now, if we look at our car, if I use the arrow keys or shift nudge, it's going to trim and make our roof line pretty darn cool. I do want it on both sides, so I'm going to do Control D. Shift nudge to move it across. Mirror so that I can get the awesome handles to flip it. I want to connect it right to that block, so I'm going to hit W for work plane, click where I want it to land, and hit D to drop it there. Now I'm going to carefully grab those 2 shapes and do Control G to group. Lastly, I'm going to put the work plane back on the ground, so W for work plane and click. Select the 2, L for align, make the car body the boss and center it to make sure it's going to cut on both sides. Now this is not coming down as far as I wanted, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to stretch it up and I'm going to push it lower until it cuts right to that edge. Now I can lift this up and move it down until it trims just to the edge of the car. If you want to get it perfect, don't forget you can switch your nudge to 0.1, and then you can use Control Up Arrow to get it to the exact spot where you want to cut. Once you're happy, select it all and do Control G to cut. And check it out, instant contoured roof. Once again, we're going to drop the sketch tool on this. That lets us zoom out and trace the window. Now I'm going to build my windshield. Let's start on a straight line. I'm going to come in so it's a few clicks so I can keep it close to lined up. And then I want to do a curve for the side of it. So I'm going to just bend this a little, click towards the middle. Once again, bend and get it how I want. Notice if you have these flat, that does keep it symmetrical. Click and bend a little, and then I'm going to finish it down here. Of course, once I'm finished, I can adjust everything to get it to look just the way I want. And of course, if you wanted this to be perfect, you could use the half trick we did a minute ago. I'm just having fun though, so we're going to simply hit Finish Sketch. I'm going to turn that into a hole. I'm going to stretch it back so it cuts in. You can see that works pretty darn sweet. I'll do Control Up so that it's at the actual spot that I want. And of all the amazing things, that design cuts out both sides. So I'm going to stay with a single one. If you need to do two, of course, just do another one from this side of the car. I am not going to group this yet. Instead, I'm also going to cut in side windows. We're going to simply drop the sketch tool right here. And then once again, we simply draw our shape. I'm going to actually stay with straight lines for this window. Super simple, and hit Finish Sketch. We could curve those, but I'm not gonna. There's my hole. I'm going to make this so it cuts all the way through. Obviously, that's a little bit high. It's on the curve. So I'm going to lower it down just using the handles like that. I don't like how sloped this is now, so I'm going to edit the sketch. And I can simply click on this point and bring it where I wanted. Isn't that awesome? Let's quickly cut in the body of the car. Once again, I'm going to do another sketch tool. I'm going to start with a Bezier curve. I'm going to go a little bit in front. I'm going to click, hold, and bend. So I'm following that same angle. Now I'm going to straighten this in a minute, but I'm going to just click, and then I'm going to click, hold, and bend up here, over, and then I want to cut into the car because, of course, we need room for the people to sit. And, of course, connect it at the end. Now I can click back on this one, and I want to modify it. Remember, I need to split those handles. So there, that is straight. I have instantly got my floorboard. I'm going to go back here and split this as well. We can make this straight. Of course, you could do this to cut out the trunk and the engine area at the same time. I'm going to leave that as a separate project as you make your cars more epic than I do. Once you're happy, hit Finish. Of course, we need to switch that to a hole. And just like the other side, I'm going to push it through. But this time I want to stop a little bit inside. Because this is the cabin of the vehicle. Friends, real quickly, let's grab all four wheels and lock them, because we like where those are. And then I'm going to just grab a sliver of this, which means everything really but the wheels. There's four shapes. The two window cutouts, the body and the inside. I want to hit align, make the car body the boss, and I want to align those just like that. And friends, we can do Control G to group. Just like that, you have got a car that you can start modifying. Of course, friends, I do want to let you know you can double click on parts. I'm going to do Control down and modify that. Just 2 clicks. Now when I click, it cuts, and that time it cuts smooth, which I think looks a little nicer. You can have so much fun changing these, modifying them. I'm going to pick a color. Let's say we did a sports car, or you can go into the custom colors. Once you pick a base color, like say I wanted some sort of blue, you can then adjust this to find the exact color that you want. Friends, real quickly, I am a school teacher, so my goal here is to inspire you to take your cars to levels past me. All the skills I've given you can be used to shape this more. Let's real quickly though add some basic features just so I know you've got all the skills. First, we're going to add headlights. I'm going to bring out the cylinder. I'm going to maximize the sides. I am going to twist it. Notice this is our rotation handle so that it is facing the way a headlight would. I'm going to set the bevel to 2 just because this looks cool. And of course, let's pick a headlight color like yellow. I need to make it smaller. I'm going to shift squeeze it to a size that I think is good. 9 looks pretty slick. And let's move it into place. Once again, you can lift it with the handles, or you can use the arrow keys, hold Control and the arrows to move it up and down. When you're happy, you can hit Control D, nudge it to the other side. Now I'm going to Shift Select and do Control G to group those. The reason we did that is now we can select the pair, Shift Select the body, do L for align, and get it completely aligned with the car body. If you want those to be cut in, check this out. We can do Control D, make that new one a hole, back it up just a little bit, and do Shift Select and Control G to cut that into the car's body. Now you can take your headlights and sink them in, which is a really cool effect. As you decorate your car, it's real easy to add text. Notice I'm going to quickly put a 1 on the side. Make it a cool color. Let's go with a gray. When I click on it, I can make it thinner. And once again, use that Control up and Control down to get it lined up the exact way that I want. I'm going to set that thickness to 0.2 and press enter just because that looks kind of cool. Of course, if you put it on one side, do Control D and put it on the other side. W for work plane, D for drop, and then don't forget the sweet mirror tool to flip it to the other way. How cool is that? Work plane down on the bottom. Let's real quickly add a license plate as well. I'm going to cruise this rectangle onto the shape. I'm going to give it a radius of 3 and press enter. I do want you to know that what we're going to do breaks these radius. We're going to just stretch the handles. If you wanted this to stay perfect, you should not use these handles. I'm not too worried though because this is just for fun. I'm going to get it to the spot I want. I'm going to set it to the gray. I'm going to cruise a word on top of it. Of course, I'm a Lions fan, so I'm going to type 1 pride. And then I'm going to use that shift scale to make it small enough to fit. Notice sometimes you have to do it once or twice. I want this same custom blue, so I'm going to click on my custom color. And once I click this and then click the other word, it copies that exact color. One of my all-time favorite tricks. Now I can take these two and shift select them, L for align, and I want to choose center and center. And finally do Control G to group. Now when we group that, it changes to one color. We can easily switch back to multicolor just like that. Finally, let's do L for align, make the car the boss, and put our license plate in the middle. Let's real quickly add taillights as well. Once again, I'm going to shift squeeze to make it smaller. I'll still do the max sides, bevel of 2, press enter, pick a taillight color like red. I'm going to squeeze that down to the size that I think fits and do the same Control D, nudge to the other side, shift select, Control G to group, shift select, L for align, and get it right where I want. Of course, you can do the Control up and Control down to get it to the exact spot you want. Friends, let's also add seats. I've got a tutorial that shows you how to make a seat. I'll put that up here in the cards. Right now, I'm going to put the work plane on the seating area, and I'm going to hide our car. You can find the car seat by typing bit.ly/HL seat, but once you've made it, if you switch to your creations and you search for the word seat, you will find the car seat that you created. These are saved as parts. Now you can click and bring this in and drop it where it goes. I'm gonna hit show all now so that we can see the car and we can adjust it to the right size. I'm also gonna show you that T for transparent lets you see through the car body. Of course, we need to rotate this 90 degrees. I'm gonna shift squeeze it so that it looks a size more appropriate for the car. I can nudge that over. I'm gonna raise it up in the air with control up to get it to the height I want. And then I'm gonna do control D to make 2 of them and shift nudge to the other side. Once I've got those 2 seats set up, I'm gonna do control G to group. Once again, shift lock. Once again, I can do shift select to grab the car, L for align, make the car the boss. Let's get those centered. And I'm gonna do control D and nudge a second set to the back so there's room for guest. Move that to the front, click on my car, shut off T for transparent. How cool is that? Let's quickly hide that body. Of course, those seats are floating, but watch this. We're gonna use the new sketch tool to build a frame under them. Of course, get it to the level that you want, and then we're gonna just go underneath and click and click and click as we build that cool little frame that would hold them up. It does not matter that it's gonna connect inside. We can just hit finish sketch and slide it into place. Arrow keys and connect. And of course we need that in each spot. So I'm gonna do control D, shift nudge, and then I'm gonna shift select those 2. And of course duplicate, nudge, and place them under all the other seats. I'll quickly switch to the view cube so I can see that I've got those lined up the way I want. If we look at this real quickly, you can see it is a tiny bit too low. So I'm gonna just grab those 4, double check that it says 4 shapes, and we can simply lift it up to the correct height. I'm gonna make those a fun gray color, and of course hit show all, and bingo, a car with seats. How cool is that? Friends, once your car looks fantastic, it's super cool to share it with the world. Let me show you how. Step 1 that I always do is to change my settings. I like to pick a fun background color. Today I'm just gonna go with a gray. And then I also like to shut off the grid. This lets you take better pictures of it. Finally, if you back out to the Tinkercad desktop, you can click up here on the properties. Of course, give it a better name. Mine's gonna say Car Sketch Tutorial. Of course, I give it a better description, mentioning that the tutorial is coming soon. Finally, make sure you give it some tags. I do want to remind you, if you ever add the tag HLMT23 to any of your designs, I check those out every day, and of course, I will give you a reaction. Next, of course, you need to set your design to public so everybody can see it, and then choose your license. If you choose share alike, everybody can copy and change your design. If instead you choose no derivatives, they can see your design, but they cannot copy it. Finally, hit save changes and your design will be saved. Once again, if you click over on the gallery, of course, the first thing you see are all the amazing staff pics. Don't forget, as you click on these friends, make sure you take a moment to give them reactions. Of course, friends, if you click on one of mine, there will be other highlighted projects you can check out as well. Don't forget to also check out the bit.ly project shortcuts. Finally, friends, though, the coolest part is to shut off staff pics and switch to the larger grid, and after just a moment, there will be your fantastic design that can get reactions as well. Friends, if you want to see all of a user's creations, you can click on their username or their PFP. And of course, friends, I love to check out all the fun designs that have been made. This one makes my day. That is actually one of my tutorials. Love that I can click view in 3D and see what Jose created. Oh my gosh, that is fantastic. Friends, it's a ton of fun to check out all the cool creations. Absolutely fantastic. You never know just whose day you might be making. Friends, I hope you had a blast with Tinkercad and gained some skills and are making your cars absolutely epic. Friends, I do also want to quickly highlight my Patreon. You can find out more in the description or with the bit.ly up above. And finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget, every time you hit that like button, share a video, add a comment down below. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day and keep tinkering.